It is January 5th, 2022. It's the first prep of the new year, and we are excited to be back. It's been, it's really been 2 weeks since the last show. We took off last week. Had to take off last week for the holidays to relax, spend time with friends and family, and hopefully most of you all had a great holidays as well, and were safe and healthy as we are in the midst of a massive outbreak of the Rona. Feel like everyone I know has Rona now. But anyhow, we're back. We're excited to be back. And, the timing couldn't be any better because... Hold on just a sec here. Sorry, I had to adjust my mic. The timing couldn't be any better because we got a lot of news to talk about. CSC 2022 is here. There's a certain BMW that changes colors that I want, which was kind of cool. And we have some announcements coming out of CES that are PlayStation related that we'll talk about here in a little bit. We're also going to talk about a major partnership with Xbox coming, and Microsoft getting into, I don't know, the cosmetic industry, I guess, or business. So we'll get into all that here in a little bit, but want to give everyone a big shout out in the live chat. See the usual suspects here. Really appreciate each and every one of you coming by. Please hit that like button. I'm going to drop a link here in the live chat. Please do me a quick favor and retweet the link as well, or post it to your favorite preferred social media platform. Let everybody know we're live. So I do want to introduce the panel. Now we're going to have Slow-Mo and Gaby Forte and Eric Jackson may or may not make it. They'll be joining us here shortly, but we do have a returning guest, somebody who we're gonna really kind of pick his brain a little bit about all things VR and some of the interesting things that NVIDIA is doing with their announcement of some addition of new SKUs to their RTX 30 series lineup. But we have returning guest Game Logic. Game Logic, welcome back to Brat, man. How are you?
Thanks for having me back, man. How y'all doing?
Doing well, man. Doing well. And actually, speaking of Slow-Mo, there is Mr. Slow-Mo being messy already with Warframe's Greater Than Destiny. But no, Game Logic, great to have you back, man. Again,
that's actually old slander, but hey,
is old slander, yes.
It works. I was actually in the process of creating new slander, so just give me a moment.
Oh my God, I'm in the process of Jesus. That's great. We got my man B Money 101, and I'm telling you, if you haven't listened to anything B Money 101 has said the past year, you should be paying close attention because when this man speaks, things happen. So B, man, welcome back to Brap. How are you, man?
I'm doing pretty good, man. How are you guys doing?
I'm doing well. Your Bulls killed my Wizards, man.
Yeah, man. Number one seed in the East, man. I told y'all before the season started, I felt real good about my team, and
you did say
they
that.
are doing the damn thing. So,
are you, but the question is, are y'all gonna win a championship?
Probably not.
Not this year. Not this year.
Yeah,
I think it's still going to be the Nets coming out of the East with.
It's why I don't really watch the NBA no more, just because I could just watch just for the enjoyment.
It's a long season.
Of, a basketball, like the big matchups. I watch those, but I'm a Wizards fan. But if you're not a fan of one of four teams, do you really have a shot? Really, it's just it's the NBA has the narrowest of margins when it comes to any kind of parity whatsoever. In the NFL, things could break pretty well. Even the best teams could have a ton of injuries and
any given
not
Sunday
really do much. Any given Sunday. There's no any given anything in the NBA. Who got the best players? Who got the best dude on the court? That team is gonna win. It's just it's you can set your clock to it, man. It is what it is. But you just go and get bodied. It doesn't matter how what your team does in the offseason. It's unfortunate, but
yeah, that's true, man. It's a great point. But hey, VR is the devil. That's kind of messy, Slow-Mo.
Apparently it is.
When you just
apparently VR is the devil. That's why what everyone is thinking today is that VR is the worst thing in the world. You can't have VR. VR cannot. Do not invest in VR. Don't even look at VR. Okay, if you see it, just clutch your purse, go across the street. Don't look it in the eye. All right, because it's bad for you apparently.
Yeah. And well, it's great to see you back, Slow-Mo. I forget to mention that Slow-Mo is broadcasting live from Planet Hoth. So happy that you finally dug yourself out. We dodged that storm 45 minutes or 50 minutes an hour north of you, so we were okay. Which is kind of weird because we usually get more snow than you guys.
Yeah, man, that foot of snow, I'm still feeling it, man.
Oh, I bet, man. I bet.
All the shoveling I had to do. Yeah, like one of my coworkers said, we might get more snow tomorrow. I was like,
yeah, tomorrow night.
I'm all like, no, we not. Like I can do anything about it. Like I'm gonna tell the weather. I'm gonna call your manager.
Well, can I speak to the manager here, Weather? Yeah, right. Speaking of weather, by the way, shoveling snow can be dangerous to one's fingernails. It could cause chipping, things like that. But Xbox may have a solution for you. Microsoft is partnered with Opie Nail Polish to produce an Xbox collaboration of colors inspired by Halo, Forza Horizon. Some of these nail polishers are called Quest for Quartz, Pixel Dust, Racing for Pinks, Susie's My Avatar. Trading
Racing
paint.
for pinks?
Racing for pinks.
Yeah, come on, man. You know all about them pink slips.
Pink slips,
Yeah,
man.
but I'm just like, that's a nail polish? Like, why? I mean, hey, I don't know anything about nail polish. So
let me describe Racing for Pinks for you here, Slobo. It is described as a creme rosé that will rev your engine. I'm sorry.
You know what? I wish I was in the meeting when this was playing because I just want to know who this was who their target market is. Clearly, it's women, right? But I want to know how they describe their target demographic for this.
Oh, it gets better, Slow-Mo. You want to hear some of the? Let me before we get to that. Let me get to some of the other ones here. I'll describe one that's kind of interesting. Susie is my avatar, and they describe Susie as my avatar as a creamy pink nude that will give you virtual power. Trading paint, a creme apricot you'll race to the finish for. Anyhow, heart and console. Yeah, you like that, right? Heart and console. The pass is always greener. I guess that's a game pass. Sage simulation. You had me at Halo. I think where's our good friend OBM?
No.
That's a trademark.
OBM about to sue your OBM. If you are listening to this right now,
we need to
get
call
a lawyer.
Hold on a second. Get
a good lawyer. Don't call one of the guys that's got the commercials that come on late at night on the channels that you shouldn't be watching. Don't call one of them lawyers. Call a good lawyer.
I'm calling OBM right now, actually.
Hit up Microsoft, but Microsoft got better lawyers, of course. But look, fight, okay? And maybe they'll settle out of court. You make some money off of it because they clearly is copyright infringement. They stole your title, man. That's not right. Now you had me at Halo. They know where they got that from. Come on,
OBM.
Man. What's up, man?
You are on the lot. You're actually on the air right now, on BRAP. So I just want to. I'm calling you. Hold on a sec here.
What the fuck?
I'm calling you because you have a podcast called "You Had Me at Halo," and Microsoft and Opie Nail Polish have created a copyright infringement on that name. They have a polish name. You had me at Halo. We think you have an opportunity here, Sue, maybe. So that's why I'm calling you.
I'm probably not gonna bother.
Okay. All right. Okay, OBM. I'll talk to you later, man.
He just wake up. He's just like, what is happening?
He's like, I'm not. Did you hear that? He's like, I'm not gonna bother.
I didn't hear him say that, but
yeah, he did say that. Yeah.
He probably doesn't want to waste the money, hiring a lawyer just to lose. You can't beat corporate lawyers, man. They're too good. They got too much money. Yeah. Pockets is too deep.
Yeah. But the other ones are you can't control me. And that's controls in CTRL. Achievement unlocked, and Newberry. In addition to these cosmetics, I want to add, fans will also have the chance to win custom Xbox wireless controllers that are matched to the collaboration's top
On the bottom, man.
trending hues. Am I still botting?
Or maybe it's, I don't know. This might just be me. Do you guys hear him botting?
Oh, it sounds good.
Yep,
might
it's
be
me. Never
it's
mind. I'm a back out.
Yeah.
Come back in.
All right. So so you have the chance to win these custom Xbox wireless controllers that are matched to the collaboration's top trending hues and whatnot. So that is this collection is going to be released February 1st. You'll be able to get it at your local Amazon or on Amazon or OP.com, Target, CVS, and more. There you have it. That's the partnership. So I don't know. What do you guys think? Any comments? Any thoughts? No thoughts.
No, I don't have any.
All right. B, no thoughts on this, man? Did we lose B? Uh-oh. Hope we didn't lose B. B, can you hear us? Oh, his mic's muted.
It looks like he's on mute. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Any comments, Limo?
I just got back in. I don't know what you said.
Oh, I just was talking about like the nail polish.
Nail polish crap?
Yeah, you can win like a controller that's associated with the popular hue or whatever.
Look, this is. I think this is marketing, thinking they know what they're like. They probably got statistics that show that like a significant number of gamers are now women, which is great. Gaming is and what constitutes as a gamer is diversifying and not just looking like and being stereotyped as just one kind of person. But I think that this is marketing not really being in touch with who those people are and what they are looking for. I mean, look, this may be anecdotal, but I've never, ever heard of any women gamers that I know a lot of. But again, this is anecdotal, but never heard them talk about nail polish ever. So it's just like, is this really the marketing connection partnership that you need? It doesn't make any sense to me. I don't know, but that could just be me. What do you think, Game Logic?
He actually had no comment.
Yeah, I'm out.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I was like, nah, I'm out.
I plead the fifth.
Yeah.
I mean, I have daughters, and I mean, they're not full-blown gamers yet. Like, they're definitely interested in games, but I just haven't given them access to like really premium tier consoles. So, the one that is more fashionably sensed, this might be a thing for her. So maybe it's just maybe there is a generation who will have interest in this, and we're just, quite frankly, too damn old to be able to relate to somebody who would have that motivation.
Right. I just like I don't know anybody, any women gamers that like, my nail polish, look, I just got this new brand. It's just like no one gives a crap. Like, if I'm playing games with you or them, they're just like, sniper over in that perch over there, like we're playing shooters and stuff, and like we're playing games. We're not talk about your damn nail polish. This is wild, man. It's like, what's the next, tampons? Is that it?
No.
Look, I mean, they've opened the door for this kind of like ridiculousness. So like, just like, is that what we're doing now? You're gonna team up with Tampax or whatever. I don't know the names of this stuff.
All right.
All right. Look, man.
All right. So let's move on to CES 2022. It's happening right now. Some really exciting news coming out of CES. Did you guys see the BMW that changes colors? Did you guys see that, the electric vehicle?
No. Look, I didn't see CES, man. I've been pretty busy today, so I did not. I did see the stuff about PSVR 2.
Yes, we'll talk about later. Yep.
But that was more of like, I saw like the stuff off of Twitch. I wasn't watching CES directly, so unfortunately, no.
Yeah. All right. Well, the BMW actually has an electric vehicle that changes colors as you drive it. I think it was either white or gray, and it turned blue like as it was moving. And I was like, whoa,
That's
that's
interesting.
pretty badass.
What is the purpose of that?
Yeah,
Who knows? But I like it.
just to be cool.
Just to be
Hey,
cool.
look at this.
Maybe it's to get away from the feds when they're chasing you. You know?
Yeah, I was gonna say if you committed a crime and your car was red, and you could
It's
change
like,
it to
we're,
green.
we're looking for a red vehicle, and then you just change your color to blue as soon as you turn the block. Hey, I mean, there's a benefit, I guess.
Yeah.
What you're saying is Rockstar got a hold of a BMW, and that we now have the GTA color change in the garage.
Exactly right. Yeah. So the other thing that come out of that was also coming out of CES was NVIDIA unveiling new SKUs for their I can't even talk today. GeForce RTX 30 series cards. They announced the RTX 3050, which is a budget card. It's supposed to retail for $250. That's not bad, I don't think. $250 to get ray tracing DLSS, right? But I think we know that way how that's going to go. You're not going to be able to find those cards, right?
No.
Yeah.
I mean, like they can lower the price as much as possible. They can repackage old cards that are obsolete the way like NVIDIA brought back the 2060, but they doubled the VRAM in it. Like, so what? It's still got the same number of CUDA cores, it's still like not going to be a great card, but it's still better than what some people have at the moment because they're like still on like say like a 1050 Ti or a 980 or whatever, and like they need to upgrade. But like whatever they make the retail price for on eBay, it's gonna sell for 3 times that. So you can make it as low as you want. People not like the stock is going to get snapped up in a millisecond by bots, and then 15 minutes later it's on eBay.
Slow-mo Python script. Python script.
Hey, look, man, I told you I'm not doing it, man. I'm not engaging in any of this stuff, man. I'm not doing it, man.
I hear you, man. So, yeah, so we're getting 3050, 3070 Ti, 3080 Ti. We all knew about the Ti's coming, right? The interesting one was the 3090
Ti. Yeah.
The 3090 Ti, which is kind of interesting. And Game Logic and I were talking about this a little bit before we went live, that, like, I have some issues with NVIDIA about this, but I want to go to you, Game Logic, about this because we did talk about this before we went live a little bit. I thought the 3090 Ti is kind of trivial in a way because obviously there's still demand for the 3080 cards. The 3080s, 3090s use the same. I forget there was like G104A core or something. I forget the exact name of the core. Whatever, use the same one, right? So my thought is if they have all these cores or parts left over, they could probably make up stock. Start making additional 3080s to get them in the marketplace, get them to consumers who've been actively waiting for these cards for years at this point. But what are your thoughts about this announcement, Game Logic?
I mean, for the most part, just for the last year, new GPU announcements really haven't mattered that much to me because, as Slow-Mo said, they're not really obtainable. So this isn't the first time that NVIDIA has announced some uptick and expansion of the SKUs in the 3000 series RTX line. They did this with the last round of TIs, and they announced it, and I just kind of shrugged my shoulders, and I'm like, who cares? I think the announcement that is significant here was the announcement of the laptop GPUs, because that is an effective upgrade path for a lot of people and some people who are coming over to PC gaming. The 2 rules of thumb right now since last year during the chip shortage is that right now is not the time to be a DIY custom builder, right? To look at building your own PC. And I mean, not even just talking about cards. Things have gotten better now, but I go back to a year ago. Like, I couldn't buy a standalone power supply, right? Just to upgrade that in one of my boxes without buying a bare bones kit, right? To come along with it. The power supplies that were available were kind of low end power supplies from like not well-known name brands. So it hasn't just been, GPUs. Processors are getting better and are pretty good right now since the AMD 5000 series Ryzen's have come into being and gotten more healthily into supply. But like, I just don't know how much GPUs matter as far as desktop parts. Like even like anything other than really first party PC manufacturers are charging are tending to charge supply and demand based prices even to upgrade your GPU. So unless you're going with a box like a Dell or an Alienware or a Lenovo, you're just still kind of paying out the nose for a GPU upgrade. So I don't really know how much difference that they make. Now, the 3050s may at the lower end, just because getting those into the hands of system integrators, right, who are going to sell them like your CyberPower PC and your iBuyPower and things like that, they will get those boxes out and make them available to people. You've usually been running at about $1,500. You can still get into a decent box kind of out of the gate to buy a fully built PC, kind of at the entry-ish level, and so we may see those prices come down a little more as these cards get out into the hands of system integrators.
Yeah,
it kind of to piggyback off of what he's saying. Like if you really want to get a card that's going to at least be priced somewhat. A reasonable price for a GPU, because although like you're talking about how like a year ago a lot of other computer components that people would buy to build their PC were having some supply issues as well. At this point in time, a lot of the other stuff is kind of like leveled out. Some stuff is a little bit more expensive than normal, but for the most part, it's available to get. Like it's available to get from normal retailers and not just eBay or Facebook Marketplace or whatever, right? So it's like it's actually available for you to purchase in its quality. The GPUs though, that's the big problem. And if you're a gamer, you need a GPU. Like it is what it is. So like if you are experienced in PC building and you've built a PC before, you're comfortable with all that, go ahead and get yourself a pre-built. Because then you can take that pre-built, like choose a pre-built that has the GPU that you're looking for. Because this is really kind of like as far as ease of acquiring it, your only way of acquiring that GPU. Because if you're trying to wait for a Best Buy drop or a drop from the actual aftermarket provider, then you're basically going to be waiting for a very, very long time. But if you just buy that pre-built, you keep that GPU, but say like, and this happens with a lot of the pre-builts, you look at like the components to it, the specifics, and they don't tell you everything. They don't give you the brand or RAM. They just say power supply and just give you the wattage. They don't let you know if it's gold or gold rated or anything. So like, take a look at that PC once you get it, and then see what you may want to replace. And then you can kind of sell some things that have, that came with it that you don't want to use, replace the other stuff. And then now you can actually build something that you can actually work with. But it's really not, I mean, I agree with Logic. This is not the time to build anything really. Like it's probably best to just kind of wait this out until maybe the crypto stuff dies down and people and the supply for GPUs eases up a bit. Because what's happening here is that the crypto miners are making deals directly with the manufacturers. So there's no supply because the retailers aren't really getting a ton of supply. Like there was a crypto miner that like he deleted his Twitter account because he tweeted out a picture of like a server farm full of 3070s. Just full of 3070s. And people found his information, found where his stuff was at. This guy got up off of Twitter as quickly as possible. Like this guy had a deal with Nvidia directly for those founder edition 3070s. Like none of us can get things like that. Period. So it's just it's probably just best to just wait to build a PC at a time where things are a little bit easier. But if you feel like you have to do it, if you're a PC gamer and your GPU takes a dump and you're outside of warranty, yes, your best bet is to buy a pre-built. That's all your really options are right now anyway.
Yeah, that's true, man. That's a good point. I want to welcome my good buddy, Gaming Forte. Forte, what's up, man? You there, Forte? He was here.
He's here in spirit, I guess. I don't know.
He says GameStop has my soul.
Or maybe GameStop is here.
Is he at work?
Instead.
Oh, what's going on? Yeah. Let me grab some of these super chats real quick. We got Steady Flow with the $2 super chat. Says they have a partnership with American Dolls as well. I think that's I think he's talking about Xbox. And then he says another $2 super chat from Steady Flow says, my bad, talking about Xbox in the first topic. So yeah, I think that's what he's talking about, American Doll, which is an expensive line of dolls, believe it or not. Like really expensive. But yeah, Forte, I mean that's not Forte, Slim. I mean that's right, man. Like it's kind of like, pre-built's the way to go right now. If you have to go that route, if you want to get the 30 series cards. But at this point, I got a 2070. I'm just gonna wait it out. I think.
You're good. Look, a 2070 is not a bad card at all. You're good. You can play a lot of games.
Yeah, I'm still playing a lot of games. Yeah.
Yeah, you can play them at higher frame rates than the current consoles at like a very good resolution at 1440p with probably not max settings, but like
I was
really
playing Halo
good
at high settings.
Yeah,
so like Halo at a high setting, 60 FPS, man. Well, about 60, 70 FPS around that range.
Look, it's you're good, man. You don't need to upgrade your card anytime soon.
Yeah, and you're running the same problem I am. So I have two boxes with RTX 2070s in it, and the problem you run into is like I have a certain minimum threshold where I have to have a performance gain in order for me to upgrade a GPU, and for you to get to, at least for me, what my performance threshold minimum uptick would be, you've got to go to a 3070, right, minimum. And so, right, otherwise there's no bother going from a 2070 to a 3060.
Exactly.
Right.
So I mean, you're hitting that point of supply constraint and overblown prices where you're going to be paying, $700, $800 or up, for an acceptable card upgrade. So this is one of those instances where I'm just going to pump the brakes and do like I used to do in the old days and wait for the next generation of architecture. Because normally I would skip a generation of architecture. I wouldn't bother going to a 3000 if I've already got 2000. So I guess I'll just be waiting for the 4000s to come along.
Yeah, I think when are those rumored to come out? Like
they rumored of like late summer, early fall. Nvidia and AMD are just trucking along as if like this whole supply issue isn't even happening. They're just whatever cadence that they planned on launching these GPUs, they're just continuing on as if like everyone's, as far as they're concerned, they hit the record profits anyway. So why the hell not, right? I did so like sometime around like late summer, early fall is what I heard. Although that might change, but I wasn't paying attention to CES again. So, but like, what are the prices of the 3090? Did they talk about the price of the 3090 Ti?
I don't know.
Because the retail of the 3090 is $1,500, so I'm thinking if it's a Ti is going to be more than that. So I'm thinking like
2,000, roughly,
probably 2,000, like anywhere between a minimum like 1,800. I'm thinking.
All right,
you won't pay 2,000.
Oh no, you're going to pay far more than 2,000.
You're going to pay 3.
Yeah, easily. Shoot, the 3090 probably runs for
23
right now.
I just recently bought one, $2,300. $2,400.
You bought a 3090.
I don't have. Okay. So, God bless Micro Center. God bless living next to a Micro Center, because boy, my view of this whole situation is so skewed because I live next to a Micro Center. Micro Center does such a great job in making sure that they always have this stuff in stock. Anytime I go to a Micro Center, they always have them. The problem is you can only buy them every 30 days because they limit you by your phone number and by your address, and they have it literally set up in their system that nobody from the same address can buy the same card, and nobody with the same phone number can buy the same card either. And then they have a raffle system, which every morning at 9 a.m. the raffle opens up. You scan a QR code that's only good for that day, and You have 30 minutes to get into basically a line queue. And at 9:30, they ping that queue, and everybody that's in the queue has an opportunity of picking up one of those cards. I have never not been in that queue and not gotten a card. Now, granted, it comes down to like the order you're picked in. What card, because if you're the first one picked, then you have the pick of the lot of all the cards they have available, because they'll post like a screenshot of all the cards that are expected to be on the to be available that next day, the day before. So I'm like in a Discord and everything for it. It's pretty crazy, but they always have them available anytime. And the funny thing is, the one thing you just said about NVIDIA and AMD about their cadence. The reason their cadence will never change is because technology never stops. The moment they stop, like say they just said, okay, you know what? We're not going to really focus on 4,000 right now because we still got a lot of people that want to get 3,000. Well, the R&D they put into 4,000 will become obsolete just like that, meaning they literally just wasted a whole year of development on a 4,000 series because they wanted to pay homage to the 3000 series, and then then they're basically skipping a generation.
I agree with you 1,000%. Let's go back to you spending $2,400 on a 3090.
Yeah. Oh no. So it's not for me. It's not for me.
$900 over MSRP.
Listen, I am sitting on a 2080 Super right now. That is what I have. I have a little brother that lives in Tennessee because, he knows how great Micro Center is, and he has kids, and money's no object to him. Money doesn't matter. So he upgraded all of his PCs. He upgraded his PC. He upgraded his two kids' PC. So over the last 3 months, because like I said, I could only get one of these graphics cards a month. That's it. I've been literally going to Micro Center every 30 days up until last month. Last month, I got a 3090, the RG Strict one, the all-white one, because he's got an all-white build for his PC. $2,397 for that graphics card. With the 2-year warranty, which took it up to like $2,700. And then I also bought I bought the 3060 Super because it has 12 gigs of DDR RAM in it now.
That's great.
But go ahead.
We need to talk. Hold on.
Let's also talk about why. But you also talk about scalpers and stuff, and about the blockchain and how all that stuff's affecting it.
Let's forget the scalpers for a second.
Go ahead.
Let's talk about my PC. Okay. So
okay, you trying to upgrade?
I want a 3080 Ti.
Okay.
How much is Micro Center? Because I got a Micro Center near me, but that's like in Virginia near my job. There's no way
they don't really scout. They do have a higher price on them. Like they start as low. I see like 3080 Ti's. Like if you get EVGA ones are normally closer to MSRP than any other card. Like Asus is way higher. MSI is way higher. EVGA literally is nowhere. It's usually between 10 to 30% in a bump in MSRP. So you can get a 3080 Ti roughly for I think I seen it for like $1,700 is like the rough estimate that I seen them for like the higher end ones of them.
That's $500 more than what?
Oh yeah, you gonna pay still. But think about it. But if you go on eBay right now, how much is that same card going for on eBay? 25?
Probably
23.
I guess I'll just keep trying to get it from Best Buy.
Well, how much is it at Best Buy? That's the question, because
Best Buy is MSRP.
Oh, Best Buy is MSRP. That's weird. Yeah, they are completely.
Best Buy is the only retailer that can sell the Founders Edition cards.
Well, that's probably the reason why, because I do think that especially for Micro Center, I do think the actual manufacturers of the boards for these GPUs like Asus and MSI, they probably supply them more because they do get more of a higher return for them, because they do mark the price up on them. They are definitely not MSRP. Even Micro Center will tell you the only cards that are guaranteed to be MSRP are the Founders Edition cards, which good luck trying to find one of those.
like I said, like they came out with a for the 3000 series. Like shortly after they came out, they first started selling them. They announced that going forward, Best Buy would be the only retailer in the United States that would be selling the Founder Edition cards, the reference cards for the Ampere line. So that's why you can't find one at Micro Center or anything. Everything is all the aftermarket partner cards, yeah, because they're all at Best Buy. And Best Buy's process was great. Even great.
Theirs is still online, isn't it?
Yeah, everything is still online now,
That's
but
why I
like
hate
they've
it.
tied it into the store. So like, there's two issues with Best Buy now, and this also goes to Xbox Series X's and PS5s, and those consoles being difficult to get at Best Buy as well. They had a process that was great. It was two-factor authentication. They were doing some tricks here and there to kind of like it would be different every time to kind of trip up the bots, so the bots wouldn't have a set process for them to kind of like code the script off of in order to I said code the script, write a script that would be able to secure a ton of the inventory before actual people can get it. Then they switched it up to something that was more standardized, but is broken. So essentially, you get into this what is called the verification loop. So you have to have an account. You have to have a Best Buy account in order to get one of these high in demand products.
Yeah. Yep.
But the process to sign in is broken. So it takes if you have multiple devices that are signed into your Best Buy account, it breaks the process. And then it thinks you're a bot. And so then it keeps putting you into this verification loop and you never get out of it. Meanwhile, the cards are being sold.
Oh, absolutely. To the people that are just with one phone, one account, and just logged in.
Exactly. So like the only way to really get a chance at it is if you were only logged in to say just your phone or just your PC or just your tablet, whatever. And that's only that's only 50% of the way. The other 50% of the way is that they are actually going to send a card to a location near you, because you can get past that trash verification loop and then get to the where do you want this card delivered to? Oh, we're not going to deliver to anything 250 miles of your zip code. What? Like, why am I buying it online then? I might as well walk into a store.
It comes down to this one typical thing that's coming down to just the stock of these cards and stuff. They want them as much as like they sit out here and they say, "Oh, we're sorry that more people can't get these graphics cards." Yeah. That's all. You know, corporate speak. They don't care. They know they're selling these things at a profit. And let's be for real. Most people don't know this, but AMD, the 6900 XT, is just as good as most of those high-end NVIDIA cards. It's probably better in some regards. But no, I said in some regards. You want to
look at the test results. A lot of these channels do. A lot of benchmarking channels. I love those.
We're not talking about 3080 Ti's and 3090s. We're not talking about.
Well, I mean, they have the 6900 XT is pretty competitive, but it's
very competitive.
But like, it can stack if you're just talking about no ray tracing, turn off DLSS, turn off FSR, and just straight up frame rate at the highest ultra settings, and you pick your resolution. They are competitive. They are pretty much like the 3090 is still the one that performs the best out of all of them currently on the market. But they are competitive. But as soon as you decide to like, let's test ray tracing, like
it's a wrap.
It's a wrap. It's the large gulf between NVIDIA and AMD. It's like the Grand Canyon. It's ridiculous how big the difference is.
Yeah,
FSR is good. Super resolution is good. DLSS 2.1 is better. And
better. You're right.
And it's just like those are the things that kind of like really make it so that why people really are looking more towards NVIDIA than AMD still.
Well, it's also a status symbol. Let's be for real about that. You know, a lot of people just need a GPU. Like you and Game Logic just talked about, GPUs are at a premium right now. You shouldn't be trying to upgrade your PC right now due to, well, not your PC, but just your GPU because of the higher prices. But if you just need a GPU and you're not really, the people that really need a GPU, they're not really concerned with stuff like about the stuff that you just named, because they just need a GPU because their GPU now
AMD, they gonna get an AMD. If
they gonna get an AMD, but the reason
if that Intel GPU looks good, they might jump on that too.
They might jump on that too. But the problem is the status symbol is so strong for Nvidia right now, where all of those people that they listen to their friends and stuff. Like I said, us being the mainstream, the biggest mouthpieces of all of it, we speak to those people. So when they hear us say, oh, what graphics cards you got? Oh, I got a 3060, 3070, 3080, or a 2080 Super, or 2080 Ti. All they hear is Nvidia. So to them, they're like, well, they're not really going to ask the question of why not AMD. They're just going to be like, oh, Nvidia seems to be the thing. Nvidia is always out of stock. So it's like this fever pitch to always get an Nvidia card because it's a status symbol at this point. Now, is that ever going to change? Probably not, because it's always been a status symbol ever since Nvidia found a way to overcome the fact that AMD has just been in their way for the last couple of generations when it comes to like just being on the same plane as them when it comes to performance. And even knowing that delta has closed significantly up until this point, there's still a delta there. But now you're in
the chat's dying with the PC.
Yeah, they're like no more PC talk. All right, no more PC talk.
We'll talk after the show, man.
Brap is more than just Xbox, PlayStation. Well, it's more Nintendo than anything because I'm here, but
We
are
no
Nintendo fans. Stop it.
We are a console platform agnostic podcast. So we're talking everything.
We are.
Yeah, and we're gonna talk VR here in a little bit.
Yeah,
too.
you can have your show back, even though VR is one of the best things ever, and people need to stop hating.
I got an Oculus Quest 2, baby.
Can't walk
you got one
at the same time. Hey,
I bought it last
256 or 128.
You gotta roll some of that D&D with us, man.
Slumbo don't know.
Dungeons and Dragons?
He don't know nothing about D&D.
Yeah, you there's a what is it? What's the name? What's the game?
In VR?
Yeah, 4-player co-op.
Yeah, what is it? What's the name of the game again? Forte?
I don't know. I ain't got it. I don't have an Oculus yet.
Damio, I think it's called. Damio, I think it's
you mean
Demio, yeah.
Demio. Shout out to Lord Cognito. Lord Cognito told me to pick that up. I played Lone Echo. That's the only VR game I played so far. The first VR game I played, man, I was just really kind of blown away with the visual fidelity. Shout out to Ready at Dawn, because like when it comes to visuals, they are.
What game is this?
Lone Echo. It's
try that out.
It's exclusive to the Oculus store. It's really good. It's kind of like you remember that game Observation and Tacoma? It's kind of like that. You're on a space station. But it's got a really good story, very good voice acting. Visually, like I was kind of shocked to see a VR game that looked like that visually. I've heard a lot of stories about how like some games are blurry or like visually that's not up to par to what you see from traditional gaming. Lone Echo is the exception. Lone Echo looks better than a lot of common modern games you see today. That's not even like a super current game. There's Lone Echo 2 came out last year. So they're already on to the sequel, but Ready at Dawn was the developer for the Order 1886. So look, if you look at that game even today in 2021 looks good visually. So like, they have been far ahead of their time when it comes to visuals. And
I just want to know if you ran into a wall yet.
Oh, I ran into a ton of walls, man. Look. See, here's the thing with Lone Echo, right? Like you're.
Yeah, I'm not seeing that. I'm not seeing that in the store. What's it called? Lone Echo?
It's not in. Don't look on that.
You got to look on the MetaQuest website, and then it's on their store there.
Because you can't play it.
Wireless.
Yeah,
wireless.
You got to have the link cable. You got to have the link cable.
I got the link cable.
Well, you can use 5G. 5 gigahertz Wi-Fi connection to your PC. as well. But like it's easier to just do it with the actual link cable, the Oculus link cable.
Shout out to the $80 cable.
Right.
Yeah,
Which I have.
I got that thing for $20 because I had a gift card at Best Buy. But no, that it needs a PC GPU. The GPU inside the Oculus isn't up to snuff in order to run that game properly. The same thing for like Half-Life Alyx. Like you need to run that on your PC. I have Half-Life Alyx as well. I haven't played it yet. I wanted to finish Lone Echo first. And then play that. But yeah, to go back to Demio, Lord Cognito told me about that. I looked it up and I was like, all right,
I
that's
played it
definitely
today
on the wish list. You
Yeah,
played it
I bought
today?
it. Yeah, I played it. I did a little single player just to try it out. And yeah, it brought me back to I wasn't a big D&D player when I was younger. I played a little bit, dabbled in D&D, but it brought me back to my childhood. And you're in a virtual basement, which is kind of cool. I guess typically where you play D&D, or sometimes we'd play in the garage in the summertime. I don't know why. Yeah. We'd have to bring out the table and sit outside the garage.
Yeah, the thing with Lone Echo is, it might be just specific to it, Lone Echo, and it being my first VR game, but like, I played it sitting down. I was stationary. I probably should have been standing up with it because it's like the whole zero G thing. Like you have to. Oh,
I got motion sickness with that. With another game, Zero G.
Yeah, like you're like floating into walls and stuff, and you have thrusters in your wrist in your hand, so like you kind of holding the touch controllers, and you press the triggers to activate the thrusters in order to kind of move yourself around. But like it's like you really have to kind of like learn how to navigate in a way that you never had to do in a video game before. Yeah. And so like that, the whole tutorial part had me a little bit frustrated, but once I got used to it, then I really got into talking to this one other character in the game that looks like amazing. Looks like something from out of like a Hollywood movie, and seeing how the story was unfolding. It's really good though. It's really good.
I'll have to check it out. Yeah. So we'll talk more VR here in a little bit, but I do want to get to some other news. This is more Xbox related. Ubisoft is bringing its Ubisoft Plus subscription service to Xbox. That's kind of been, no one's surprised by this if you've been paying attention. It's kind of something that's been talked about quite a bit. I'd say the last year or so, this has been talked about. But yeah, so Ubisoft is bringing its subscription service to Xbox, Ubisoft Plus, which I subscribe to. If you're not familiar with Ubisoft Plus on PC, basically it gives you access to more than like 100 Ubisoft games, including games like Far Cry 6 for like $15 a month. So you get all the all the big, you get like if you're like a big Splinter Cell fan, you have access to all the Splinter Cell games, Assassin's Creed, Watch Dogs, The Crew, Far Cry games, Immortals Phoenix Rising, The Division, and then you get access to their new releases day and date as well on PC. But so this is going to be arriving on Xbox. Now it is not part of Game Pass, which when I initially read this, I was like, I thought it was part of Game Pass, which made me think, oh wow, that's a huge get. So I don't know, like I guess this is okay. I think from a
I don't know if it's a huge get. I mean, it's good.
It's a nice.
It's good. It's an option.
It's a nice option. Yeah, option. It's a nice option. Like I don't think it's a bad thing per se. But it's. I think this is probably going to appeal to people who are really big fans of Ubisoft games, right, on Xbox. I think it's a hard sell if you're not.
I think the price break is if you buy 3 Ubisoft games per year, then you break even on an annual subscription. So
right, yeah, it's definitely something that if you're a big Ubisoft fan, then like this is be a good benefit to you. If you engage in all of their games, if you buy if you're playing a lot of Rainbow Six Siege and you're getting every season pass. You would have all that bundled into your Ubisoft Plus, so you don't have to pay anything. If you get all the Assassin's Creeds every time they come out, if you just engaged in all the Tom Clancy stuff they always do, then this is the perfect service for you. Yeah. Otherwise, it's like there really isn't enough, in my opinion, there isn't enough content for it to really justify the price. I had Ubisoft Plus for a couple of months and tried it out. After 1 month, there was nothing left for me to play that I wanted to play, and this even having like the entire like back catalog of Ubisoft to play with as well. Before today, it was only available on PC. So like you're looking at like really just like a lot of the PC games. Some of the and PC gamers know Ubisoft is very when they come out with games, they are not always the best optimized. So like it's there's a reason why a lot of benchmarking YouTube channels always use Ubisoft games to do their benchmarkings, because they don't really do too much optimizing of their games, and their games are typically really, really hard on hardware. So if you really want to know if the new GPU is really awesome or not, watch it play the latest Ubisoft game, because you already know that Ubisoft game killed your current GPU, right? So those games are not only that, but like because they're poorly optimized, a lot of the older ones crash a lot. So like I tried to play Splinter Cell Blacklist, and although it looks amazing on PC even today, it crashed on me so often that I was just like, nah, I'm good.
Well, let me real quick, man. Let me go to B Money, because I think B was trying to chime in.
Oh, my bad, B.
Yeah, what are your thoughts, B?
You good. Kind of like you guys said, if you engage in Ubisoft titles and you got to be there day one, then it's a cool service to jump in, $15 a month, get access to all those games. But if you are a Ubisoft fan, you know that their games go on sale literally 2 weeks after they come out. They're half off. So why would you pay a subscription to have access to their game? Most of their games are either half off or 55 to 60% off. Literally like 2 weeks, 3 weeks after the games come out.
Far Cry $24.99 right now.
You know what I mean? Like there's no point to pay a subscription to have access to Ubisoft games. Their games aren't as great as they used to be anyway. Like all their great franchises that used to be great, Rainbow Six, the Ghost Recons, the you know what I mean, the Raymans, all that stuff isn't as good as it used to be. Assassin's Creed is a fucking shell of itself. Nobody wants to play that fucking riddled with microtransactions nonsense. Like, no one asked for that game to return to an RPG. That's not what most people wanted from Assassin's Creed. So like, Ubisoft is making themselves look like clowns these past couple of years, and it's just getting worse.
Yeah, that's a pretty I don't know, man, harsh criticism of Ubisoft, but no, I hear you.
It's the service. Go ahead, B.
My favorite developers. Like, I used to like Sun for Ubisoft. Like, any time people talk crazy like about Ubisoft, like, dude, they have like the best variety of games. Like, they were so versatile at a point. Now they're a joke, man.
Yeah, all they do is chase trends. They're just chasing the wave after the wave is already gone. NFTs. Like, yeah, there's that, but there's like how everyone complained about their games, all games being samey. It's like the same open world format. They said, okay, we got you, my bad, our bad. And then they just started making all their games copying someone else's format of other games that were successful. And it's just like, how did you go from one bad thing immediately to another? It's just like, you don't get it. Like, we want those games to be what they were before, not whatever kind of microtransaction hellhole that you're trying to make it be now. It's frustrating. Ubisoft Plus, I think the reason why, because I saw a lot of people immediately thinking, oh, it's going to be on Game Pass. It's not on Game Pass. I kind of figured that this would be the case. They want to at least attempt to make this work on the console market and give it an attempt before just immediately just going, taking whatever price tag that Microsoft gave them to have it be in Game Pass Ultimate. Like, that probably will be eventually where it goes, because I don't see it selling any more than it does on PC, which the sales of it on PC ain't great either. But it's just like they don't have enough content to justify the price tag of it. It's $15 a month. $15 a month. That's the price of Game Pass Ultimate, where you get like 200 plus games, and they switch in newer games all the time. Versus Ubisoft Plus, where the only thing is new is the newest Ubisoft game that comes out, which is on sale, as B said, a few weeks after it comes out. So it's just like there's just not very much value to it. And I mean, I do think Rainbow Six Extraction being day and date on Game Pass is great for Xbox in general, because here's another AAA game that is going to be launching in your service.
Yeah.
I think it's not that great for the gamers in Game Pass, because I don't know how well it's going to do.
Could we make that same argument about Game Pass though too? Like,
what?
You don't need Game Pass because a lot of those games will go on sale as well, and you're not going to play all the games.
I mean, when you look at 6,000, I mean, they came up with that graph that showed over 6,000 games that were in Game Pass, $6,000 worth of games in Game Pass over the course of 2021. I mean, you ain't pay nowhere near. Now, if you want to talk about you're not going to play all those games, yeah, a lot of people do play a lot. I mean, most people. The thing is, you got to. Most people do. Go ahead.
If you're paying $15 for one service, right, and then the argument is for that service, maybe it doesn't make sense because those games go on sale so quick. Could you say the same about another service?
We want to know why EA.
No,
you want to know what?
see,
I'm gonna tell you why EA.
The thing that's different is that Ubisoft only releases 2 or 3 games a year.
Exactly.
Whereas as Game Pass, there's at least 8 to 10, 12 games that they put in there a month. So it's like you might not play every one of those games, but chances are you're probably gonna play 1 or 2 of them, or at least check them out.
Check them out. Yeah, exactly. You're gonna check it out. That's what I think.
You know what I mean? Ubisoft primarily focuses the releases in the holiday season. You know what I mean, towards the back end of the year. So it's like, all right, you paying for the subscription for 6 to 9 months, and you're just playing shit, waiting for the new games to come out. Hopefully they're worth your time. If not, you could get them half off 2 weeks later.
Yeah. Also, the variety in Game Pass is far greater than what you get from Ubisoft Plus, especially now when all their newer games, as we said before, are the same kind of game design, just put with a different skin over it. And that's just like, I don't care that you called it Ghost Recon Breakpoint. When that game first came out, it was Ghost Recon The Division. So it's like, that's not what people wanted to play. That's not what Ghost Recon fans wanted to play. And so, like, really, if you're not into those kind of games, there's just no reason for you. If you think Ubisoft's current offering of games this past 2 years are trash, you have zero reason to get Ubisoft Plus. It's even worse than EA Play, and here's why. EA drops more games on an annual basis, and then they also publish games that for companies that they don't own, like Hazelight Studio that just won Game of the Year with It Takes Two. They published that It Takes Two was available if you had EA Play Pro on PC. You could have played that like day one on that service. They also have a little bit like a mini Game Pass where games that aren't published by them are in there. Like, I played A Plague's Tale: Innocence first through EA Play on PC before I played it on console. So like, they have that kind of stuff. And EA Play is a way bigger value than Ubisoft Plus, because Ubisoft doesn't put that kind of effort in. They don't get games that they don't publish in there. Everything they have in there is the stuff that's coming out right now or just came out. It's stuff and old stuff. And after a while, if you can play through the back catalog if you want, but eventually you're gonna run out of stuff to play, and it's just gonna be taken up, not take it up, but like, basically you're wasting your money on a monthly basis on that, and that's just not worth $15.
I do want to walk one thing back. So I don't think Ubisoft only puts out 3 games a year. Just looking at their 2019 release list on Xbox, they put out 7. So I think there's a little more content there than,
they put out 7 games in 1 year.
Yeah.
Well, some people forget that like games like Riders Republic and stuff like that was.
Yeah. Okay. You said that was 2019.
2019, and I only looked at games on the Xbox One, so I didn't count redundancies and things released on multiple platforms. I think my only point is I absolutely agree that for a certain set and type of gamers, there are 3 titles that we think of significance, right? All I'm saying is that there's for other people who like I don't play Dance Dance Revolution, right? But Ubisoft has a dance title that it puts out, I think, annually, right? So
yeah, that was the year they released Immortals, right? Phoenix Rising 2019. That was one of the games, I believe. Yeah.
But also recently, Ubisoft said they were going to stop releasing as many games. They said that
they wanted to focus more on services.
Stop releasing as many AAA one-shot titles. That some of those IPs are going to go to games as a service type stuff. I haven't seen. I don't recall any indication that they were just publishing less games. I think there's going to be the same number of games. They're just going to be of differentiated business models. And I wouldn't look at 2020 or 2021 for any type of statistical analysis on what the game industry has done, because the stats are so wildly skewed because of the pandemic. So my only point is just, I think for people who, not necessarily for, I mean, I will agree that we're past the heyday of Ubisoft when they were firing on all cylinders and you were getting Watch Dogs Legions and Assassin's Creed, Ghost Recon, The Division, right? A Far Cry, right? That right there would have been the heyday of Ubisoft, where if you got those 5 games, that would make a different picture. I'm just saying that they're still putting out a number of titles and there's still stuff there. Gamers have to make the valuation decision of whether or not there's enough there of sufficient quality and their interest for them to engage on the subscription.
Yeah, it was the same reason why I normally always have my EA Play Pro subscription through EA, because I have my father-in-law, he plays Madden all the time, so me and him, I always get it on PC and he always plays me in Madden, so that's like our little thing together. But then I knew Battlefield was coming out this year, that was going to be a part of that too. So when I looked at it, I was like, shoot, 2 games, $99 for a year, that pays for the subscription right there. So he's right. As soon as you find enough games that, can benefit you actually just paying for that subscription, then you're right. But then it also comes back to that whole thing, like, are you okay with just not owning these games when that subscription does lapse? Because there's a couple of games, because I had EA Play Pro for 3 years. And the year I didn't have it, I was like, dang, I don't own none of these games. It's like, I have to get the subscription service if I want to play these games. And, you don't really think about it until the after fact. But yeah, go ahead.
Interesting vector, right? Because many people pounce on that, right, about the subscription model and use it as a means to denigrate anybody who goes down that path, right? That
yeah, they do.
Thou shalt own their games. You shouldn't rent games. Blah blah blah, which I think is a bunch of trash argument. But at any rate,
Right.
I think the thing that I find very curious, because I've been thinking about this the last couple of weeks, is that argument never gets thrown at Nintendo, right? Every Nintendo hardware generation we get, at least recently of the last 3 or 4 generations or so, including the handheld, we get an eShop like thing where we are asked to pay for remade games that are available for that console. And when that console goes away, its associated service and storefront also goes away, and all of the stuff that we bought is tightly coupled to that console, and it's just gone. And when you go get a Switch, if you want those things available on the Switch, you don't get any credit for the fact that you bought those things on the 3DS or on the Wii or on the Wii U. You have to buy it all over again. So it's just an interesting thing. I think this all goes to a big thesis that I've been kind of generating, that is around the fact that people just don't understand the real notion of property law, particularly when it comes to non-tangible assets like software. So it's a thing. It's an interesting topic.
Oh yeah, every time all those things that you click by, that's what that stuff is, and you don't read it.
Yeah, Cable, is that when you say software? Is that the idea that you never really truly owned your games? You just have the license to play those games.
You have a physical copy, right? But that physical copy has tons of dependencies, right? It has dependencies on working hardware that's associated with that version on that media for that console, right? For that title. things that are coming out now have even further dependencies because they have server-side dependencies requiring them to phone home and validate their license.
Mm-hmm.
That's not really property ownership, right? And I will say in the conceptualization of this thesis, I am absolutely against what a lot of courts have found on, right? They have found that is actual property. But when you talk to the real theoreticians and the doctorates and the people who are really writing these things about property law, it doesn't really equate. Because, one of the things, if you talk about where property law really first started generating land, right? Your copy on an optical disc of game Umpty Scrunch, right, that plays on a Generation 6 console is not the same as you owning a parcel of land, right? There's a ton of interdependencies and dynamics that are radically different, and I don't feel that it personally equates to true ownership, which is why I always say, you've just paid a certain amount to basically make a really long checkout from a library, right, of a piece of media. And that
Game Logic, it looks like somebody's disputing you in the chat, by the way, but go ahead, sir.
Yeah, I close chat now because they're.
Yeah, but that.
So yeah, I'm not saying that I'm right. I'm just saying that I don't think that argument entirely holds water, but the people who hold tightly to it view it as if it's a 100% lockdown concept that owning that copy of software means that they own the game, and it absolutely does not mean that you own the game. Particularly when somebody, one of the notes, I'll wrap this up. One of the notions of property is that someone else cannot come and tell you or do something with a thing that you own. When you theoretically own even a physical piece of media now that you put into a console that can be updated without your control, right? Minus you pulling your network cable, in which case, in a lot of cases, the game just won't work, right? That's one of the principal tenets of property, is that if you physically own a thing and you have it's where the whole notion of the colloquialism, a bird in the hand comes from, right? Somebody can't come and intervene and do something with that property while you own it, but that's not the case with software.
Yeah. I had this debate with people 8 years ago when the whole DRM thing was happening and people were up in arms. I'm like, you never really own games. But that's an interesting perspective.
Same with music and movies and anything else that you buy on disposable media.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Like I always say, like you may think because you own the disc, you own the intellectual property, but you don't. You own the license. And even then,
I just find the entire argument hilarious because I see a lot of the same people who bang that drum about they want to own their games would be the same people that like get on other people for playing old games. So what's the point of owning it if you're never going to play it after you complete it? You're never going to go back to it and enjoy the fact that you quote unquote own it and that you can go play it whenever you want. You don't even want to play it anymore. So what's the difference between you doing that and someone quote unquote renting the game through a streaming service or a service where you're installing the game, but you only have a limited time to play that game installed on your piece of hardware? Both of you were doing the same thing. You're playing the game one time, uninstalling it, not thinking about it anymore. So it's just really like kind of a silly argument, and I really think it's really founded in a lot of console warish kind of talk because people just want to have something to kind of point at the other side for, and as soon as their side starts to do it, you see a lot of them change their tune. And honestly, when it comes to Game Pass and this stuff, I always go back to how I found out Hades was a damn amazing game, right? So Hades came out in 2019, but I didn't play, I'm sorry, in 2020, but I didn't play it until last year when it came out on Xbox. It was in Game Pass. I heard it was amazing. I didn't know it was on PC at the time. I thought it was only on Switch, and I had already sold my Switch, and I'd be damned if I was getting another one. So I played it through Game Pass, loved it so much. I knew that eventually it would leave Game Pass, so what I did was I made sure to buy it. I bought it on Xbox and I bought it on Steam. I bought the game twice. I'm one of those people that what's the name that everyone loves that runs Game Pass? The woman, what's her name?
Sarah.
Sarah Bond.
Sarah Bond. I'm one of those statistics that Sarah Bond brings up when she talks about gamers who have Game Pass spend more. Because that's what I did. Here's a game that I hadn't spent any money on. And if I was ever going to try it, it was probably going to be on sale, some super sale for like $5 on Steam, right? Played it through Game Pass, loved it, bought the game on a discount through Xbox, and then bought the game again on Steam so I could have it on both platforms. Like,
Great.
so now that is ownership. Like, you still have that option. Like, I don't understand. There is really no argument here. If you're saying, oh, I think people should buy their games, even though, like, why are you worried about someone else's wallet? Or I want to buy my own games. Fine. You can try games through Game Pass, and then if you like them, you can buy them.
You go back to a talk that Joseph Fares made a couple years ago, and he expressed a lot of angst. And if for people who don't know, I would argue that you should, but this is the guy who is the director of the studio. It Takes Two, so last year's VGA Game of the Year, and he's made a lot of other prominent games that are heavily centered on co-op. But one of his big problems, and angst with the industry was that the industry spends, gamers express a lot of, whatever, anger or whatever, and the industry focuses a lot of projects that it will greenlight and a lot of the ones that it will turn down based on replayability. And he's like, all of the telemetry that we have in the gaming industry tells us that people, by large part, in large percentage, don't replay games. So why are we shoveling these millions and billions of dollars in LOE at games around replayability? Now, this is not including your games as a service type games, right? About games, when the fact is that people don't replay them a lot, which I would also link to the topic of, well, I insist that everybody buy physical media because you should have a physical copy so that you can always go back and play the game again, where, lots of people have those physical copies and they don't actually replay them. Then the last thing I'll mention, to go back to my other point about this notion of ownership, one of my big litmus tests is you don't sign a EULA for a piece of land, right?
Yeah, very much true.
That's true.
Yeah, it's really it's interesting when you look at it. It's like there's a bunch of, I see people in chat talking about, you could trade your games in, you could hand them over to a friend and stuff that changes ownership, and I'm like, if you want to argue semantics, that's true, but try taking some of those games to like a store and try to trade them in and see if they actually give you anything for them, because at a certain point those games just become coasters because they just don't want them anymore. They don't take them because they have no value anymore. Either servers are shut down for them, or they just or they're free to play games where they don't have a monetary value anymore because they just switched over the game model of the game and everything. Destiny is one of those perfect examples, because I played that game a lot, and this was a huge conversation around them removing content from the game that people paid for over the course of 7 years. And if you go and look at their, shout out to Hogue Law. He did a huge video on just, people don't read those EULAs. They don't know exactly what they're signing on for when they hit that OK button, just to scroll all the way to the bottom and not see exactly what you're getting yourself into, because all of this stuff is all finite. It's all based on what they want to do with the platform, and all you have is an entry point with that media. When you buy that digital code online, when you buy that disc, when you put it in your system, when you download it to your console, all you have is a key that allows you to enter the door. How that house is dressed and how it looks every day is up to that developer and what they want to put into that house. And that house can change every day. If they want to change it tomorrow, you signed off on them being able to do that. Of course, they're going to have things that you paid for that's going to be value to you at the time of that purchase. But 2 years from now, if they decide that stuff's not needed to be in the game no more because of whatever reason they decide, because they say they can change the game world at any time that they want to, your house can change all over again. And that's the thing that people kind of got to get through their heads when it comes to this.
And here's another huge thing, right? For anybody, and again, I'm not looking at the chat because I find some of the things that go on there a little distracting while we're trying to do the podcast. But for anybody who's yelling and screaming at me in chat, right, refuting my opinion, right, what my challenge to you is, go actually read. read something about property law.
Read.
What is that? What is that, Game Logic? What is
You
reading?
want me to read?
Here's a big kicker. I dare you to go read what a company's warranty policy is about software. And you would talk about something that you think that you own. And again, I'm a person who runs teams and runs part of a company that builds and sells software. I will tell you that part of my company lineage is that I've worked for several companies where we do not warranty software. And I think that if you go and actually read the warranty policy about software, you will find verbiage in there that says things like, we do not guarantee that the software actually works. So again, if I go buy a car and I say that I own it, that car has a warranty. I buy a home, that home generally, depending on the point of sale, has a warranty. It has some guarantee of workmanship that goes along with it. Right. Just a deck put on my house, that deck has a warranty. The software that you are buying, whether it be on physical media or over a server, I think that you will find that when you look at it, it does not have the same concept of a warranty that you have in your head. Now,
you have a return policy. That's what you got. If it doesn't work, and that varies, right? Because like I think Steam is like
much varies.
Yeah, Steam gives you a certain amount of hours of gameplay before
2 hours.
2 hours, right?
I wouldn't call it gameplay. I would say 2 hours because I have had a game that I've run for 2 hours that was predominantly on pause right during that time, and I did not get a refund when I felt that I needed.
It's in game time.
Yep.
Yeah, but it varies per the platform that sold you, the storefront that sold you. Like Xbox is a little bit more lenient than PlayStation is. Nintendo, just don't even pre-order anything with Nintendo if you feel like you're not gonna really get it, because as soon as you put that pre-order in, that's their money. They ain't never giving it back to you. So that's what you have when it comes to these games, this game software. You got return policies. You ain't got a warranty, and really them like stuff like what happened with Cyberpunk, where they were giving mass refunds and then even said, hey, go to Sony to get your refund. And Sony was like, excuse me?
What you talking about?
What? We did our job. You didn't. Don't tell me this is coming for our money.
We distribute your game, and it's not our fault your game's trash.
Oh, exactly. You shouldn't have dropped the game when you did. This is on you, right? So like that's how like you have a return policy. Like and Cyberpunk didn't even have to do that. Right. They did that mostly based off of the fact that their reputation was getting dragged, still getting dragged to this day.
Yeah.
But like their reputation was like all the way up there with like the greats, and it went all the way to the toilet, and that's why they did that, because
my God. I'm sorry. The live chat, man. Some of the shit that I read sometimes. I'm sorry.
I don't know why you pay attention to the live chat.
What is going? Like what? I'm sorry. Some of this shit. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Slow-Mo.
I have no idea what's going on in the chat.
Like just like some of the logic. You know what?
Let me read this one you just.
No, it's just the logic or lack thereof is what I'm laughing.
Anyhow. Yeah, and look, I'm saying the things that I'm saying. Look, if you go read and you do research and you come down on the same position that you have now, which is that when you buy a piece of physical media, you own it. If your takeaway from that sufficiently meets your criteria for ownership, that's completely fine. Doesn't bother me one iota. Quite frankly, doesn't bother me at all, because I could give a crap and I'm going to do what I want to do anyway, and I could care less. So, but the reason I say the things that I'm saying is because, again, going back to the console wars, and we're about to talk about PSVR here at some point, right? And all these conversations are going on Twitter. My agenda that I keep trying to push is that I don't really care what opinion people render. I just want it to be rendered from a point of information, right? From a point of study, from a point of research, and to not just bring up conjectures based on what you learned in your flipping 10th grade civics class, right? But that you actually pick up a damn textbook, right? And go back to articles that were written 8-9 years ago, right? That said, people don't replay games. The developers who presented at the conference that say gamers don't finish games, right? And that we stop kind of launching these arguments from, you know, if it wasn't in the news cycle, like in the last 3 days, then gamers can't retain it and can't remember it. And we just blow past it and have all these arguments based on completely unfounded information.
Yeah, that's a great point. That's a great point, Game Logic. And we saw some of that today, by the way, with
Oh, do tell more.
the announcement of Sony. So see more news coming out of CES. Sony finally revealed the PlayStation the PlayStation VR2, and if you know, I'll just cut right to it. Some of the takes that I saw, especially by some media types, like were really kind of like head scratching. Like it almost made me think like what like.
We're doomed.
Yeah, like one guy was like, you know, another push for VR is doomed to fail. Look at the attach rate of the PlayStation VR during the PS4 era. Look at the PS5 shortage now. The fact that chip shortage won't get solved anytime soon. They're just as in a PS5 exclusive VR market, et cetera, et cetera. One guy was like, you can't walk and chew gum at the same time. That's not exactly everything he said.
Oh, I know who said that.
Oh, yeah, we do know who said that because Forte replied to him, but he only replied to Forte. I don't think I asked him a question, but I think, like Slomo said, he probably muted the rest of us because I did actually say you can walk and chew gum at the same time. But there were just some really, really bad takes, I think, with the VR announcement. It almost seemed like some people were surprised that Sony was going this route with VR. Like they haven't been talking about it for the last year or so. But
yeah, they definitely have been letting people know that this was coming.
Yeah. But I'm trying to find this. Yeah, like the guy was like, hey, VR feels like a huge distraction for PlayStation. The audience still isn't there at mass market numbers, and Xbox is a far stronger competitor this gen. So we're gonna park that piece right there. We'll talk about that some of the reaction, but I do want to talk about the announcement. You know, they did show off Horizon Call the Mountain, which I thought looked pretty cool. They did give us some of the specs for the PlayStation VR, for PlayStation VR 2. No price point was announced, so we're still waiting to hear confirmation from Sony on that. Maybe we get something at E3, but Sony was certainly, certainly had its presence there at CES. They also announced, if you guys were, this is non-gaming related, but Sony Mobility, which is kind of, I think Sony kind of dipping their toes into, the electric car market, I guess. Yeah, so I'm trying to look up the specs here. I'm sorry, guys. Give me just a sec here. Where are these damn
You're
specs?
doing great. You're doing fine. You're doing fine.
Yeah, well, I have these specs up. I don't know what the hell happened here.
They
All
said
right, here we go. Sony's
capable of 4K. Go ahead.
Yeah, 4K HDR rated OLED panel. Refresh. It's going to have a refresh rate as high as 120, which I think is 120 hertz, which, if I'm not mistaken, will help with motion sickness, right?
Are you on the website looking at it?
No, I had the website.
So they got. So it has this. It has it's OLED. It's OLED display.
Thank you, Forte.
20 by 20 for 20 by 2040 per eye, up to 120 hertz refresh rate.
Yeah, here we go. I got it, yep.
You have adjustable lenses. Field of view will be 110 degrees, which is amazing. Thank God. Sensors will have the 6-axis motion sensor with 3-axis gyroscope, with 3-axis accelerometer, and attachment sensor for RI proximity sensors. You got 4 cameras inside for the headset, and the controller tracking with IR cameras for eye tracking per eye. You also have feedback vibrations inside the headset itself. It does have the one USB Type-C cable for connectivity to your PlayStation 5, and it does have a built-in microphone for output and audio for the stereo headphone jack.
Yeah. Yep. So,
and if you want to go ahead and just get the stuff on the controller, go ahead, because that's the stuff at the bottom.
Yeah. So no, first the headset I think is pretty impressive. Yeah. I mean, I think the 90 to 120. I think it's gonna. If I'm not mistaken, I think that's been kind of the issue with motion sickness with VR, like where if it has lower refresh, that's
need faster refresh.
Yeah, faster,
that was the reason the Pro was made. That was the reason they went with the PS4 Pro, is to get that the actual refresh rate up higher, because on a base PS4 you were dipping below 60 frames per second consistently. Now with the Pro, it was keeping you above 60, which definitely helped with that motion sickness. So seeing this be at 90 to 120 is a really, really good move. I don't know exactly what the Oculus is at this point. I think the Oculus is higher than 120 consistently, isn't it?
I don't know.
I believe so. I mean, I don't have the specs ahead of me. I just got the Quest 2, but
yeah.
go ahead.
Quest 2 is listed at about 72 hertz, if I'm not mistaken.
72.
Okay.
72 and higher. Okay, so this is actually a little bit higher. I mean, that's technology moving forward. Go ahead, because I don't want to jump ahead of you. Go ahead.
No, I was going to say the one thing that you're seeing here is they're doubling down on the haptic feedback adaptive triggers. That's going to be part of what they call the PlayStation VR2 controllers, which they call them the Sense controllers. They're saying that this is going to help players feel interact with games in a much more visceral way. So I think that's cool that they're doing that. But I got to say, like just the specs alone, the 4K HDR, the OLED display. The frame rates at 90 to 120, the fact that you won't have to have a camera, I think this time, right? With the with the PlayStation VR, you had to have the camera, if I'm not mistaken, in order for it to work. And look, it's still tethered, but it's not as many cords. A perfect world, I would have liked.
Cords, there's no extra box.
Yeah, no extra boxes,
well, that's
right?
the thing I like, that there's no extra box. I mean, it's still the one cord, because the PSVR version 1 pretty much just had one cord coming out of it, but that box, having to relocate it next to your PlayStation 4 and all that other stuff, it just literally plugs into the USB. And the USB-C is on the front of the system too, so it makes it easy to be able to like plug it up and unplug it and store it when you need to store it, instead of having to pull your whole system out the back to actually get access to where you have the box plugged in on your older system.
Yeah, but it's still gonna be a thing, right? Because and I'm asking the question. Well, first of all, let me walk back the Oculus Quest 2 refresh rate. So that's 72 hertz. My understanding is that's untethered. I think tethered, it can go up to 120.
Okay, that makes sense.
Gotcha.
So the PSVR 2, the cable. Now, and let me also say this: being a person who plays on multiple VR headsets, cabling does not bother me. Right? It's a trade-off, cabling for performance, and I'll take the performance over the cabling. But
I agree.
with the PSVR headset, the cable's going to tend behind you, right? Because it comes up through the back of the headset. So you're going to be facing your PS5. The cable's going to be tending behind you. It's going to wrap around in front of you to run up to your PS5, right? So it's still kind of a thing.
It's still a thing that's going to be kind of there, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, but no, I Gabe Electric, I kind of agree with you about the performance thing, because that's one of the things I had a discussion with our good buddy Royal Boyle on Twitter. I'm like, hey, look, they're going for kind of a more high end experience per se, like than something that you would get untethered, right? And I'm all for that. Sony certainly has the IPs, the intellectual property. We're seeing it with Horizon now, to kind of really tap into creating some really cool games or experiences for PlayStation VR, that I think if you're in the Sony ecosystem like many of us are, and you're interested in VR, you're probably going to pick up this device and really enjoy some of the content they have, because they have some really great franchises that they could go that route. I mean, they're doing it now with Horizon, but
well, I guess depending on which market segment you're in, right? Yeah. This is the thing about VR that I think a lot of the arguments went really off kilter this afternoon, right? The VR market is highly segmented, right? And I don't think that there's as much movement, right? And as much kind of porous flow over from one strata to the other. And what I mean by that is, and these are perceptions, right? So I'm not saying they're necessarily right. They're definitely open for argument. But so in my mind, if you are a PC gamer and PS gamer, right? And you're going to go VR, you're going to go one of two directions.
Right. I was going to talk about this too, but go ahead.
Yeah, you're going to go high-end, high performance, and PSVR 2 is not necessarily for you, right? Or you're going to go below the line to more cost effectiveness and decent performance, and maybe you do go PSVR 2, right? But I feel like if you're gonna go VR and you're a multi-platform gamer, you're gonna go with something on the PC. If you are a PlayStation only gamer and you don't play on PC, like it seems like I see a lot of people on Twitter say that they are, right? Then I guess you're going to go PSVR 2 because you're not going to make the outlay and the significant cost of a VR kit, right, for the PC. So, your Valve indexes and your Vive, your high-end Vives are up around $1,000 for everything all. And then PSVR 2 is going to wind up sitting kind of somewhere in the middle in that segmentation. And then Oculus Quest is a really interesting play. I guess what I would contend, because we have the person, right, who lodged the argument, well, Oculus Quest 2 is sold 10 million, right, units. Mm-hmm. I would claim that the bulk of those 10 million units are not high-end players, and they're right. And somebody who wants a premium VR experience with no obstacles and no impediment, best that the market can offer, is not going to go for an Oculus Quest 2. Somebody who's okay with somebody who maybe isn't at the tip over point where they're willing to make that outlay may go ahead and go with an Oculus Quest 2, and it's good. I mean, I ramped my VR experience, right? I started with a kind of low end affordable headset and then got more complex headsets and kind of moved up the chain. So a Quest 2 is a great place, to start and to kind of do entry-level VR. And it offers an additional capability if you want to tether it. So I just feel like that's kind of the three different levels of the market that there are, and people are going to buy in based on which one of those things they sit in.
So let me ask. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Slobo. Go ahead, man.
I'm in that. I'm not that VR gamer now, I guess. That is just kind of like testing the waters with it. Not really all in yet. Not really completely sold on it. But I was always waiting for a VR experience that was built from the ground up for VR, and not like these kind of like retooled games that are more traditional games that, hey, look, it's Resident Evil 4, but in VR. Hey, look, it's Borderlands 2, but in VR. Like, if I want to play Borderlands 2 or Resident Evil 4, I had the opportunity to play that years ago. What I want to play is a game that actually takes VR and shows me something that could only be done in VR. And those are the kind of experiences that once I started to see those experiences being created, then I was more interested and more willing to give it a shot. Now, I think the biggest reason why VR has not been more widely adapted is that, one, the technology wasn't quite there, but two, the price also wasn't quite there, because most people are not going to spend, like, what was the HTC Vive when it first came out? $800?
$800, I think.
Nobody. Majority of the gamers out here are not spending $800 on something that they don't know for certain they're going to like.
Right.
You're going to spend $800 on something that you know that you're going to enjoy. And so that's why I think at one point in time, the PSVR was the most successful VR headset that was out there, because it was the cheapest.
Oh yeah, I would contend it still is. Like I kind of discount this whole notion of the 10 million Oculus Quests, because I feel like that's a differentiated device that's hitting at a different part of that market segmentation. But go ahead.
Yeah, but look, it's still VR. Like, as far as Facebook is concerned, or Meta, whatever the hell you want to call them, they're loving that. They're going to tout that 10 million, because this is for them. It's getting the device in the house, and then now it becomes finding or creating, developing games. Definitely developing, because they've been acquiring developers that are good at VR, like Ready at Dawn, which we mentioned earlier. Acquiring developers that give people the kind of experiences that they will want to pick up that VR headset and play it. Now, Sony also has that same issue that they have to solve, making games for the headset that require people to go buy one in order to actually play it, because if you don't have interesting or compelling games that people want to play within it, then it's just going to be what it is. It's always going to be that one device on the side that, you know, I was going to try to check that out kind of, but I didn't really see anything that I wanted. Remember the hype when Half-Life Alyx was announced? Like people didn't even need the Valve Index to play that game, and the Valve Index sold out. Like when you create experiences that people can only play through VR, that actually takes what makes VR different from traditional gaming and presents it in a way to gamers where they absolutely have to try that. That's how you get people in the door. Now, at that point, the price doesn't matter. That's when price doesn't matter. When people say, I have to play that. Okay, well, how much do I need to spend to get the opportunity to play that? And that's the kind of experiences that they have to create. So the whole argument that we saw on Twitter where people were saying, oh, well, like, you know, what are they dividing their resources? Like, they're not dividing their resources. They acquired developers. They acquired developers specifically for this.
Yeah,
Firesprite was acquired specifically to make VR games for them, and that's what they're doing. So, like, it's not like they're taking Naughty Dog and saying, "Hey, Naughty Dog, no, don't make the next game that you're about to make." No, we want you to make Uncharted VR. No, that's not happening. So, like, it's just like this weird mindset where people seem to can't understand that you can do two things at the same time. You can have a team that's doing what they always done, which is make great games, and then acquire another team to go make great games for you as well, just for a different segment of the market. It's not that difficult to understand.
Yeah,
I think a key thing missing, and I made reference to this on Twitter today when I talked about Fred Brooks and the Mythical Man Month, which again is, I think, just a basic tenet that gamers should understand, but no one does, and people refuse to. Okay, so my wife just recently over the break, like, built my oldest daughter's bed, right? Got her a new bed, assembly required, put it together, right? Kid's room is small, not like a master bedroom suite or anything, but it's, you know, it's a kid-sized bedroom, right? If I take 3 other people and throw them in that room, that bed probably gets put together a little bit faster, right? If I throw 6 people in that room, up to a certain point, maybe the bed gets thrown together faster, but if the bed ain't broken down into at least 6 to 12 pieces that those 6 people can all work together on, then the bed doesn't get built faster, right? And once I throw 20 people in that room, the bed gets built actually slower. And that's a tip over point that a lot of people don't get. Because the argument that was waged on Twitter today was, hey, they should have their developers making, next-gen titles so that we stop, like... That argument, what I keep trying to explain to people is the learning curve on next gen doesn't happen because you throw more people and developers and money. It happens based on a expected learning curve that it takes to accommodate new technology, and throwing more people at it and more developers at it does not make that happen faster. So now you have a finite amount of developers that you can put on a problem in a number of that's within the boundaries of the company's budget. Now you have extra stuff to do, right? One of the other counter forces is that investors don't like companies sitting on piles of cash that are doing nothing. You have to do something with them. Activist investors force you to do something with that money. Either sell that stock back, increase your dividends, but one of the things that companies do is they add additional with that, right? Which is what you're seeing with PSVR 2. Giving them a competitive, I won't necessarily say an advantage, but at least a differentiation, right, in the gaming market. The other thing to look at is the fact that Sony is also a huge optics company. So you look at the partnership and technology exchange agreement that they made with Microsoft. Part of that agreement was based on an exchange of optical sensor technology, right, which is one of the things that builds upon by integration with its optics business, where you see a lot of that is over in smartphones. So most of the smartphones out on the market today, Sony glass and Sony image sensors, right, for their cameras. So it's kind of a no-brainer that the company Sony would want to go down the path I don't think it is at all harmful by any means. You might be able to argue that it's not like 100% return on investment, but it's definitely not something that they just shouldn't do or is potentially wasteful.
Yeah, that's a great point, Game Logic. I mean, that's kind of my thought process too. When I was reading some of these takes, and I just I couldn't believe what I was reading. To be frank,
and the other thing I'll throw in, because it may have sounded like I was denigrating Sony PSVR in comparison to like high-end PCVR. Well, you know, some of the advantages and some of the pluses to going down the Sony PSVR 2 route will be they have the ability to engineer with much tighter integration, right? Because they own, in a very Apple-like fashion, they own that whole technology stack, right? Whereas on PC VR, right, a huge problem with VR, a couple integration problems that there were between, you know, the Oculus Quest, you know, the Oculus Rift, its hardware, its associated underlying software, and then Windows, that, right? Sony doesn't have to deal with that because they own that entire stack of integration, and they can make that work a lot better and a lot smoother with a lot fewer bugs for them to have to squash. And then the other thing is, you know, that's from a stability perspective, and then also performance, right? They can also accelerate the performance envelope and do a lot better in that area. They have the render much tighter integrations.
Yeah, no, that's a great point. I also think too, and B Money, I want to get your thoughts on the PlayStation VR announcement. I also think too, just as I was thinking about Oculus Quest 2 and the different experiences like that you can have on that platform outside of just gaming, that Sony's also an entertainment company, right? Movies, television, music. You know, that could be another avenue for them to where people can have those, you know, experiences, either watching movies, music, or things like that for Sony. But B, what are your thoughts, man, on the PlayStation VR announcement, man?
Man, we all knew it was coming.
Uh-huh.
They've been talking about it, you know, since beginning of last year, I believe, or a year prior to that. Whenever they started talking about it, like, we knew that this was coming. I just I like the announcement. I like the feature set or the specs of the headset itself. It looks like they're, you know, kind of going for a high end look here, which is a great improvement over the original PSVR. But you know, it's still kind of early to tell what it's going to be, or you know, what kind of games we're going to get. You know, kind of like what Slomo was saying. If there isn't any you know, high end content, then at the end of the day, it's not really going to move any needles for them. So, you know, I'm kind of curious to see, you know, what they're doing, and on the back end, you know, what kind of games they have coming, you know, what partnerships they have, you know, down the line, you know, how they're going to make this new PSVR flourish in the coming years. So, you know, it's a solid announcement, but you know, we still got to see more details, see if it's really worth, you know, going out there to get it day one, what that price point looks like, you know, what other games are going to be out there. So, but you know, it's a good start.
Yeah.
Well, and I don't think I said I wouldn't read the chat, but this notion that the PSVR 2 is competing against the Oculus Quest 2.
No,
I don't think they are. That's why I brought
no.
up thing. People aren't making the choice to go, oh, should I buy a PS5 or should I buy an Oculus Quest 2? Right? I think the role that the PSVR 2 does is it's a nice get for people who have already decided to invest in the PS5 and want to extend their participation in that ecosystem. Right? It's not to me at least, I don't see it as a reason to buy a PS5. Like, it's PS5.
Yeah, you know, like I said, I think it just depends on software.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think I agree. B, it's going to be. I mean, obviously, software is going to be a big player here, and then at the launch price. I mean, and that leads me. So, Forte, real quick, man. What are your thoughts on PlayStation VR 2? And you being in retail, Forte, like, you think this thing's going to come in at $500? I've seen that. I've seen people say that based on specs. This thing's probably going to launch at $500. What do you think, man?
Better not come in at that price point, especially when your competition is coming in at half that price almost. I mean, that was one of the things that made the PlayStation VR, the first iteration, such a great value because it was a really good entry model for people to just get into VR. It was not as expensive as something as like the Rift, which was like $700-800 at that time, but it wasn't something as cheap as something that you could just put your cell phone in and actually get that type of experience that wasn't even up to snuff. So I think in theirs was what, $350? Yeah, it was $350 for the bundle that came with all the accessories, controllers, and everything like that. And I always thought that was a really good sweet spot for them, especially since they have a built-in development house that can create games for it. It gives them kind of a leg up on most of the other VR options because they have to for the most part, have to rely on third parties to actually do that stuff.
This is why Facebook has been acquiring studios.
That's
so
it,
that,
exactly.
So they can control the quality. They can make sure that there are actual like full-fledged VR experiences being developed for their platform. Go ahead, my bad.
No, you're good, and I'm glad you checked in on that. So I just think that in general, I have a lot of people that have been looking for this VR for quite some time now. Not this one in general. They've been looking for the original one because it's just something that Sony kind of has had as an offering for a lot of people for the last couple of years, and they finally gotten to the point where they can actually afford them and stuff. So they're looking, and up until this point, I didn't know what to tell people. We knew that they were working on a version 2 for PlayStation VR. We just didn't know when it was coming and what it was going to have spec wise and everything like that. And it kind of makes sense when it comes to what are you doing?
Wow, what is
That's an evil laugh. I hope she gave Forte a wedgie.
Forte's being attacked by an evil villain right now.
That's what
I got you now, Gaming Forte.
No one's here to
You'll
save
never
you,
get out
Forte.
of this one.
my house literally just turned into a Christmas party. We can't just walk down here with a thing that I don't know what this thing is. What is this? It's a dog.
So
Okay,
one thing I want to chime in on what Forte mentioned is I want to applaud Sony for simplifying what appears to be the packaging for this offering as well. And I really hope the SKU is just the stinking headset with the controllers done. One of the things that agitated the heck out of me, even as an outside observer to the PSVR, was I hate convoluted sales models and the whole notion of, well, you can buy the headset or you can buy the dumbass motion controllers, or you got to buy the camera and it's a separate thing, or you can buy the whole kit. I just was so sick of that when it initially launched, and I really hope that it's just sell the headset with the controllers packed in and be done with it.
Yeah, and that was kind of, I think that drove a lot of people crazy because you had the option of the wands, the glowing wands. You had to have the camera, and they had different SKUs. Like I think you could either buy things separately or you could buy packaged together.
I think they had too many peripherals for what they for what their initial plan was. You know what I mean? Because like the wands came out during the PS3 generation. So it's like,
they did.
All right, some people have the wands, or you can find them at a garage sale or the Goodwill or wherever the hell you can find them.
$100.
They weren't like in the store naturally. You know what I mean? Like you couldn't just like you could get the headset at one point, but like you couldn't find any wands unless you found them used somewhere. And then they had to kind of package them all together, and the camera was out of stock for a long time. So hopefully they do kind of sure up that model.
Yeah, that's why they did the whole, like, if you think about when it came to the first iteration for PlayStation 3, when it came to like just move, that they had like all their accessories and stuff, like their sharpshooter and stuff. You had to have the wands to integrate them inside that. Versus with PSVR, they, like V said, they were just hard to find, just the wands themselves. So they had to come up with peripherals that had that included in there, which was the new iteration of that sharpshooter that had it built in and everything for the games that absolutely needed to have it. And that's why a lot of games had the ability to just use a controller. But for the most part, it just comes down to a lot of people just didn't know this thing was coming. They didn't know when, and they just wanted to know when. And I think this is probably the perfect opportunity for them to start talking about this, because Oculus is at an all-time high when it comes to just being in the mind share of a lot of people. Like, I can't keep an Oculus in stock, no matter what size it is, 128, 256. People just love that product. I don't know if it's more, and the thing is, what are they buying for it? I don't know. It's just more of a situation where people just like VR, and they like the promise of it at this point now. It seems to be a little bit more mainstream than it's ever been before. And I just think Sony doesn't want to miss that boat, because they kind of modernized it by getting it into a lot of people's hands with the PlayStation platform that normally wouldn't have been interested in VR. And I think this is an opportunity for them to bring that back. But I will always tell people, VR is not for everyone. You should try it, because the biggest thing about VR is 99% of the people I see try VR love it. But that 1% are the people that just can't do it because of just compatibility reasons when it comes to just the way that they are. Motion sickness and stuff like that. But that's also why I think having a higher hertz refresh rate on this is going to make it a lot easier for people to digest this system going forward. But that's always going to be the hang up with VR. Can you tolerate it? Because if you could tolerate it, I haven't come across anybody that's tried it that didn't at least love what they experienced in the time of doing it. It just comes down to being able to do it consistently.
Yeah, it's a really cool experience. Like, I got the Oculus Quest 2 at launch and played with it for a while. Then my kids really started using it more, and then it probably wasn't for Lord Cognito, to be honest with you. We actually to Lord Cognito. I would have gotten.
He
back
actually
onto
works
it.
for Oculus now too.
He does work for Oculus. Yes, he does.
Yep.
Great job. You notice he started working for Oculus. I started seeing more people go out and buy Oculus Quest 2s. But he's
good salesman.
he is, and he kind of wrote me back in. He was like, "Hey man, you got to come hang out with us on Quest. There's this I forget the name of the app, Horizon Events, I think it is, where you can actually like watch games, like NBA games, like you're actually there."
Shout out to Kay Asante. Yeah. Kay Asante is also a big VR fan. He's a big fan of the big screen app, where with the big screen app you can actually host like movies, TV shows, like viewings. Like, let's say you want to watch CES with a bunch of people. You will open a room. You can make it public or private. If you make it private, you will give out a code, and then like you can set the way the room looks. But you could, like, he invited me into a room. It was like set in the theater, so we had like theater seating and everything. And I'm just looking around and everything. It's like you can sit in any seat that you want to sit at in the theater. And there's like a huge screen up there. You can just watch whatever you want to watch, like watch movies, whatever. And so like he was talking about having a big like movie night thing going, because they have a shout out to one of their podcasts is On the Reel, where they do like a podcast for like TV shows and movies and stuff. And they were talking about like kind of like recording that and then watching things and kind of doing live reactions to it. And I was like, wow, that's like a great idea. And there's just like so much, there's so many interesting, innovative ideas that you can do with VR that can't be enjoyed the same way outside of VR. And I think that's pretty cool.
So what can you access like apps on there? Like
yes,
Netflix,
for
like HBO Max.
For what he told me, you can. Yeah, he can connect it to his PC. Whatever he puts up on one of his screens on his PC, he can add that to the screen inside of the room. Yeah, it's pretty cool.
So what were the big PSVR games?
The PSVR games? I don't think they have any. There was
Iron Man was one of them.
Was that good? I don't know.
Iron Man was pretty cool.
I've heard it was pretty cool. Yeah.
Okay.
Then they had that planet one, the one with the alien planet one. I forget the name of it.
The Getaway sequel.
Yeah, Getaway was good.
The Getaway sequel. Yep, they had that. There was
So I
also
think you guys,
Let's be for real. Beat Saber was the
Beat
deal.
Saber, yeah.
That's why Oculus is selling as much as it's selling.
yeah, Beat Saber,
Beat Saber.
Super Hot was also there.
Yeah,
that's
yeah,
kind
super hot. Yeah.
of the reason why I asked,
Resident Evil 7.
right? Because a lot of this discussion, I would love to revisit this discussion a year from now, or or a year from now for you guys who just got the Quest 2, but also then when the PSVR 2, because as much as, and look, I have 3 VR headsets, I spend time doing it, but it has some limitations, and the market, I think, has some challenges that it hasn't surmounted yet. And one of the things is the thing you mentioned, Forte, right? I have my headsets, but I would say that the 2 most significant and well-known VR experiences, VR games, are still Beat Saber and that Darth Vader game.
Yep, I agree, 100%.
Right? So we're not at a point where the market is
How
really.
good is the Darth Vader game?
I
like
actually
it.
haven't played it. Yeah,
I played it.
Okay.
I played the first one. There's three episodes. I played episode 1. Just started playing 2. Dude, I love it. I'm also a big Star Wars fan. So meeting Darth Vader in person is pretty fucking cool.
So this is what
I have to check it out. I'm
It's like only-
I'm still
it's
getting my
$10,
feet wet,
man.
So there's a lot of I own Lone Echo, and I own Half-Life Alyx, although I haven't played it yet. So like they're just kind of looking at other games to try out.
Right.
So yeah.
Yeah, and
I'm
slow
gonna get Beat Saber eventually.
Beat Saber's a lot of fun. Go ahead, Game Logic.
that's my thing about the market. The market's not yet at the point where it's producing 5, 8, 10 A-class, AAA kind of experiences per year
Yeah.
that will hit a lot of people who may be looking for differentiated experience, right? Or even 5 AAA games that like the bulk of the VR market. Right? So, I mean, PSVR 2, I'm still gonna put my poker chip down on the side of the table that says it's a good move. But like that question right there, like what were the big PSVR games Generation 1? I couldn't tell you. The titles don't jump out at me. So it'll be interesting to see if that type of, as B Money said, right? Those software titles that are really memorable and really stick with people and make PSVR 2 something more than just a hobbyist type of experience. Yes, I get games are hobbies, right? But my MP3 player is a hobby kind of device in comparison to my smartphone, which I'm actually like really dependent upon for my lifestyle, right? That's what I mean. So it'll be interesting to see if the market accelerates. It'll be interesting to kind of hear what your guys' opinion too of the Oculus side of the house, a year from now, because I have my VR headsets, but what I spend the vast majority of my time playing are the titles that I'm comfortable with and that are proven and that I know will maintain my interest. It's infrequent in comparison to how frequently I buy new conventional games, right? That I step outside that box and really reach for something and look for something new on the VR side.
Yeah, that's a great point. It's a great point. It'd certainly be a great conversation a year from now. But we're at the 11 o'clock hour. Anyone else want to chime in before we wrap up?
No, man, it's we killed it.
Yeah, no, it was a great show.
I'm
Great
playing
show.
Returnal, so
One last thing I
Go
want to
ahead,
say.
man.
If Microsoft and Xbox somehow, like say the next year or two, decides to partner with Facebook and to bring Oculus to Xbox, I better not see any of y'all that was capping on Twitter today changing your tune. Oh, I think I might go pick up an Oculus Quest. Wait, really? After what you said before about VR? Okay. All right. I'm just saying. I don't want to see any of that, even though I know I will, but I don't want to see it.
Yeah, it'll be weird if they go down that road. I guess I can see that being feasible because it would be similar to phone. If I had to stop doing the thing. But I feel like their opportunity to go the VR route was they made the big investment in getting the PC manufacturers to make those Windows mixed reality headsets, of which I have one, and still are being done. Like the Samsung Odyssey 2 or Odyssey Plus and the HP Reverb are 2 headsets that have great specs and are really towards the higher end. I think minus the 4K, right, would be experiences kind of close to what PSVR 2 is announcing today. But I have to believe that because the Windows 10 kernel is the same as the Xbox, right? They share the same kernel, the Xbox operating system. That there's some degree of compatibility between those headsets. And I was sure when all those headsets came out and Microsoft went down that road that the next thing they were going to drop was those headsets work with the Xbox, but they bypassed that window. So it seems like they've shuffled off of the VR forum for quite some time, but we'll see.
Yeah. No, that's a great point. Well, look, I want to say thank you to everyone in the live chat, by the way, for hanging out with us tonight. Really appreciate it. Again, it's great to be back. New year, 2022. It's going to be a great year for gaming, by the way, too. We got really next month, which will be here sooner than later, really kicks off 2022. We got some big releases coming next month. So, but no, I want to say thank you to everyone in the live chat. Really appreciate you all coming by to hang out with us this evening. Please hit that like button if you haven't done so. If you're new, subscribe, hit the bell notification so that you are alerted when we go live. But I want to give also a big shout out to our returning guest, Game Logic. Game Logic, always a pleasure. Appreciate you coming on, man. Always appreciate your insight. And thank you for the recommendations, by the way, for the books. I did pick them up. So really, I appreciate that and looking forward to I haven't had the chance to dive into them because I've been busy with the holidays and getting back into work, but we'll be doing that shortly. So thank you again for the recommendation, man. And got to get you back on again soon, man. And then, I'm sorry,
anytime you need me.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Absolutely. And then I also want to give a shout out to my man OBM who answered the phone earlier when I called him. I don't know if he's listening, but big shout out to you, OBM. Also, B Money, man. Dude, great. I feel like I haven't seen you in a while or chatted with you in a while because I know the holidays and everything, but always great talking video games with you, sir, man. Maybe we'll finally get on NBA 2K. I don't know. I know you're busy. Maybe that will happen this year. We'll see,
here we
man.
go.
What do you think, man?
I think I can make some time. You just let me know when you're free.
I don't think that's ever going to happen.
It's never going to happen.
Hey,
That'd
never
be
say
real fun.
never. Never say never, but
Hey, I got a copy of I got a copy of NBA 2K22 digitally right now that I'll give them.
oh, I have the
Xbox
game.
Series X.
No, I have it on.
He has the game.
I have it on
he has-
PlayStation.
You still
Yeah.
dumping them? Oh my god!
I got it on PlayStation.
I'll give it to you on Xbox, so you can't dunk them no more.
I gotta play it on PlayStation.
Why?
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 I just have to.
Sounds like more excuses.
Yeah, more excuses. Hey, this is me still ducking. Is what you're saying?
No, sir, I'm not ducking. But yeah, no, B man. Great show as always, man.
Yes,
And
sir.
yeah, man. I really, I mentioned 2022, B man. I can't wait for next month, man. It's gonna be insane.
Hey man, kicking off the year strong. You know what I mean? So really looking forward to next month and the coming months. Hopefully we get a E3 this year. You know what I mean? We can get back in person and everybody can link up. Hopefully we get a lot of big game announcements that we don't know about this year. You know what I mean? With everything that was going on with the Rona these past couple of years, you know what I mean? A lot of devs have been holding stuff close to the chest. So hopefully we get some announcements people aren't expecting and releases within the same year. So
Yeah, absolutely, man. I mean, we weren't supposed to go to E3 2020, and as we know, that didn't happen because of the Rona. So yeah, man. Hopefully that happens this year, man. That'd be awesome. So I'm gonna go to
before we get out of here though.
Yeah.
I do have to say that we have to say rest in peace to Mr. John Madden, Coach John Madden.
Oh yeah,
Right, right.
You know what I mean? He did pass away a couple of days ago. Yeah, I mean, EA has not done well as far as keeping his name on that game and putting out a quality product. John Madden was that dude. You know what I mean? His color commentary was unmatched, man. Was a coach on and off the field, and just wanted to say that and rest in peace to him.
Yeah, no doubt, man. No doubt. We got my man Forte, who is a beautiful soul, someone I love very much. Forte.
Oh. I'm just laughing at you, man.
Why are you laughing at me, man?
Because you're funny. I like you. You're my man. You're my homie.
Hey, Forte's
go
always
ahead.
looking out, by the way, man. Seriously, one of the great guys in the community. When I call him, he's so very pleasant. He'll just say,
I try
"What
to
up?"
be. I try to be. No, man, it's a great show. Great to be back on BRAP again, man. The holidays is over. I can rest at least for another 10 months, and then I gotta do it all over again. But it's good to be back here with you guys. But yeah, Gaming Forte everywhere, YouTube, Twitter, Xbox Live, and PlayStation. Check us out. DPS Podcast will be back tomorrow at or Slomo. Will it be back tomorrow?
Yeah. Well,
Okay,
we did put out a tweet
we did.
on the DPS Twitter account saying we'll be back tomorrow. I guess
you put on a tweet. I didn't put the tweet. I didn't read Twitter today like that.
That wasn't today.
Oh, okay, that was a while ago. Yeah, so DBS podcast tomorrow night, my channel, 9 p.m. with the homeboy Somo Blackslap. Going to be a great time. Got a lot of stuff to talk about, and definitely going to bring up how our holidays and stuff went and how much we missed you guys. So see you all then, and have a great day.
Oh, no doubt, man. Please check out DPS tomorrow night. And last but not least, we got my man Slomo Backslap. Slomo, was a pleasure, man.
Oh yeah, always. Game Logic, thank you for coming through once again. Everything Forte said, plus check out my YouTube channel and my Twitch channel of the same name. I go live on Twitch usually around lunchtime. I call it lunchtime with Slow-Mo. I'll be playing whatever I'm playing and just kind of,
I saw you playing, what's it called? Tales of Rise.
Yes, been playing a lot of Tales of Arise lately, but outside of that, I've been playing just anything. I play so many different games, but that, and I dropped a video earlier today. The most anticipated multi-platform games of 2022. I'm going to do the same thing for each platform, so that'll be PlayStation, Xbox, even the Nintendo Switch. Yes, even a Switch video.
Hey, don't be knocking a Switch in 2022. Man, they got some.
Gotta tell him, man. To tell him.
I mean, we'll
got
see.
Some joints coming, man.
All right. Well, you guys, after the show, let me know what games are coming. 'Cause so far, the cupboard is bare on what I'm going to be covering for them. So, and as well as PC as well. I got some exclusive PC games that I'm gonna focus on too. So you'll see all those videos over the course of the next week. In addition to some other games that I've been kind of having my eye on. I haven't really done too many like promising games to look coming soon to look forward to videos in a while, but and that's mostly been because the games that I've been interested in and looking forward to haven't really had too many updates, and some of these developers are really bad at social media, so it's just like no information whatsoever, but it's getting there. Look out for that stuff real soon too.
No doubt. All right. We'll be back next Wednesday, 9 p.m. Eastern time. And, big shout out to Eric Jackson, by the way. Couldn't make it tonight. Hopefully he is with us next week. Miss you, E. Although I did speak to you earlier today, man. Had a great conversation with him. And everyone, please enjoy the rest of the week. Play some video games. More importantly, have fun. That's what it's all about, having fun playing video games and enjoying them. Not all the silly stuff that we see on Twitter. Yeah.
Who the hell has fun playing video games?
Exactly.
Oh, man.
I thought having fun was trolling on Twitter. What the part of the game is that?
We'll catch you all next week. We're out.